Hey, AP Stat family. I know a lot of us were having some trouble with the quiz that we took on Tuesday, so I wanted to go over a few questions. I'm not going to hit all of them, but just a couple. So first things first, so this one can hit the ball. It's approximately normal distribution with a mean of 200 yards and a standard deviation of 15 yards. The middle 99.7% of his hits will travel between what two distances? Okay, so first thing we got to notice is if this is going to be normally distributed, we're going to have the mean be 200, and then we have a standard deviation of 15. That means that we're going to have every 15 points, I have something that looks like this. Okay, and they want to know for that 99.7%. Okay, so with 99.7%, they're talking about the percent that's underneath the curve. Okay, so in this first standard deviation, it's going to be 34%. In the second, it's going to be 13.5. And the third standard deviation, we got 2.35. And then there's like a little bit out here. So really, we're talking about everything that's underneath this curve, right? And so they want to know what the distance was for majority of that 99.7%, right? Okay, so that's going to be from here, that's that like 145-ish to 245. Okay, now here's the issue. None of these say 145. What's the closest thing to 145? Right here. Okay, so that's between 155 and 245. So even though it's supposed to be 145, this one's going to be the closest to it. Okay? All right, so really the goal of this is that you have to know underneath the curve the percentages. So within one standard deviation, it's going to be 34%. That's something that you're just going to have to memorize. Okay, in two standard deviations, we got that 13.5. 3, 2.35. And then for the full thing, that's going to be 0.15. And if we added up all of these numbers together, we're going to get 100%. But I feel like you'll take my word for it. Okay? And the next one, it says, which of the following is closest to the 61st percentile of standard normal distribution? So whenever they say percentile, that's 61 percentile, I want you to change that into a decimal, so 0.61. Okay, and then you're going to come to your handy dandy z-score chart. Some of the z-score charts vary depending on where you pull it from, so just be mindful of that. So that there might be a little bit discrepancy. You just really make sure that it's a positive z-score chart for anything that has a percentile. Okay, so just keep that in mind. So if I look on my z-score table and I find the number 0.61, it's somewhere in here, right? Again, those numbers are going to vary just a little bit. And I want to know what the z-score or the z number is for that 0.61. So we have 0.2 and 0.8. So if we put those two together, we got 0.28, which is our z. A lot of you had a question on this one. Okay, so it says the body mass index for males aged 20 to 74 is approximately a normal distribution with a mean mu of 27.9 and a standard deviation of 7.8. What proportion of BMI for males is below 29.3? Okay, so the first thing that I want to do on this one is I want to acknowledge the fact that this is normally distributed. Okay, and that mean is going to be that 27.9. Now, if you want to do the standard deviation and add and subtract 7.8 and keep going, that's fine. Or you can use the formula that we've got, which is take your point minus your average over the standard deviation. Okay, So we've got 29.3, which is our point, minus 27.9 divided by 7.8. I'm going to go into my calculator, and I'm going to type 29.3 minus 27.9, and then divided by 7.8. So that's going to give me 0.179, right? So I'm going to go to my table, and I'm going to go to 0.1 over to 0.07, which is going to give me 0.56749, which is roughly this number. Again, it's going to be like off by 0.01, so just keep that in mind. Okay? So, again, you're going to use that z-score. This formula is going to come in handy. I always call it the point that I'm looking for, and then the average. And this is standard deviation. Okay? You got to have that formula kind of ingrained into your brain. This is a lot like what we did on the first one. So I'm really not going to go back over this unless you absolutely need to. Okay, and there will be a part 2 on this one, but I just wanted to go ahead and get you this information out. Okay, so see you in part 2.